Hey guys, it's Lori. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're having a great day. I hope everything's going as good as it can in times like this. Um, I'm not even going to get into what's going on in the world other than to say, are you focused on your spiritual life? Are you focused on what comes next? Or are you so engulfed in what's going on here that you've lost track of that? Just a little reminder that regardless of whatever happens here, this isn't it. This isn't our final stop, okay? So today is kind of a light-hearted video in regards to the subject because I do want to get into, and I'm just going to say real quick, I'm going to do like a series because I get asked so many questions about this, and this is not a subject you can cover in a 10-minute video, about spiritual realms, about the afterlife, hauntings, spirit communication, telepathy, that kind of thing. Okay, so I'm gonna do probably 3 or 4 videos, but today is kind of lighthearted. It's about signs, signs from the other side, signs from spirit, and how do you know they're real? What do you do? That kind of thing. So have you ever felt like maybe someone was trying to communicate with you, or you were hoping that maybe, somebody crossed and you were hoping to get a sign of whatever, that they're okay, or answers or something, depending on how somebody crosses over. I know it can be, death is not an easy thing to deal with anyway, but sometimes if people die suddenly or tragically or suicide or murder or, and then again, even if somebody crosses of, long-term illness, it's always difficult. I'm not going to say it's not, but there are many, many, many questions. I would say, I'll go back to building your spiritual growth, your spiritual health, because if you have a solid foundation, death is still going to affect you, of course. But I have found that the more secure you are in the knowing that not only does life go on, but knowing that God is real, and that kind of thing. I think death is, although still difficult, it loses its sting. Does that make sense? So let's talk about some signs, okay? Have you ever thought, like you're thinking about a loved one, or you're even if it's not a loved one, you're asking, you're praying, please give me an answer, show me a sign. And then like a butterfly or a dragonfly goes by you, or one that used to happen to me all the time, and a deer. So in a certain spot, there used to be this deer, and it's like if that deer was there, I always knew it was some kind of communication, some kind of answer, some kind of positive thing. Now, deer where I live are not rare. It's not a rare occurrence. But, so, just seeing a deer would not be the answer, but it was in the way that I saw the deer. Just seeing a butterfly is not a rare occurrence. Just seeing a dragonfly, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But if you're right there, you're asking for an answer, or you're thinking of your loved one or whatever, and this, butterfly seems to follow you around, or a dragonfly, I've had a dragonfly land on me just at perfect timing, And you'll hear a lot, or birds, robins, they say robins are our loved ones. They're not our loved ones. So it's not like our loved one turns into this butterfly or dragonfly or deer or whatever. That's, no. But I do believe that they have the ability to set it up so that that butterfly comes around you right at the right time, or like follows you, they're not controlling the butterfly, but they're setting it up, I also believe, I have a lot of people say, well, why aren't they telling me this? Why aren't they telling me that? Well, there's still laws. There's still principles. There's still rules. I believe that any communication requires permission, and anything. And also, like say you see that butterfly or that deer or whatever it is, whatever, they can use natural things is what I'm saying, Um, if you acknowledge that and you say, even if you feel like, okay, I'm crazy, I'm just making this stuff up, but if you get to the point you say, okay, hey, that's cool, I think that's you, Mom, or whatever, thanks for doing that. And again, your mom is not the butterfly, but they can be like behind the scenes kind of thing. The more you acknowledge and live in gratitude, the stronger the signs can become. Okay, and you know what? What do you have to lose? If I don't mean to say everything's a sign, that's like ridiculous. But it's almost as if, and I'm not sure why, but it's almost as if we give them more energy to do more things by acknowledging. Okay, and you can always say, hey, if that was you, I always go through God. So I'll say, hey, God, if that was a sign for me, if that was my mom, if that was my friend, whatever, could you verify that for me? And then something else will happen, So they use nature. They also use each one of our senses, You always see, if you're going to see spirit, you see them out of the corner of your eye. Sometimes, and this has happened many, many times, you might be in Walmart or the grocery store or whatever, or driving down the road, and all of a sudden you're thinking about your loved one that crossed over, your husband, wife, whatever, and you see somebody, and just for that split second, that person looks like your loved one. And you might look at that person the next day or an hour later, and they really don't look like your loved one. But for that split moment, they did. That's also a sign. So they use all of our senses. Smell is a very, very strong, powerful scent. The biggest ones that I hear about often are like the pipe. If somebody smoked a pipe, and suddenly, you're walking around your house and you smell that pipe, or perfume, somebody's like specific perfume, cigarette smoke, alcohol. If you suddenly smell it, like say, you're in the house, nobody smokes in the house, nobody smoked in the house for years, and all of a sudden you get a whiff of cigarette smoke, and that's a distinct odor, That's the thing about our sense of smell. It's very hard to be fooled with your sense of smell because, there are distinct smells, Even like each person, whether they wear perfume or cologne or whatever, we all have our own like scent. Sometimes you'll just smell your loved one's scent just for a moment, So they use our senses. They use all of our senses. And again, whatever you get, you acknowledge it. I don't, like I said, I don't mean to go around being like, everything's a sign, this, that, Then you're going a little overboard, But if you can acknowledge, even if you think, okay, maybe I'm going mad, and if I am, please, that's why I say, God, if it's truly a message for me, could you please verify? And I don't want to take everything as a sign. I know for sure, without a doubt, that we are surrounded by spiritual beings that we can't see, okay? I know that's true, but not everything is a sign. Sometimes stuff just happens, Sometimes that butterfly is just going by, you know what I mean? But if that butterfly is like clinging to you like glue, and like your mother loved butterflies, or you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. Electronics. Now this is very interesting because the more electronics or electricity in itself, the more advanced we become electronically, the easier it is for these guys to manipulate the energy. So sometimes you get the flickering lights and that kind of thing, but it's easier for them to manipulate, say, an iPhone or an Android, like Galaxy, whatever they are, like the top notch, whatever, than it is, the old rotary phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the more advanced we get, the easier it is for them. You hear that a lot of phone interference. Maybe you get a call from Tom, and he's in your contacts, and you see that missed call, and you answer it, and it's like a fluke. you know? They can do stuff like that. I'm not going to say they're going to call you and say, hey, what's up, you know? But you might get that call. You might get somebody now they have that number. And for some reason they call you. You know, like they can do that kind of stuff. So they use electricity. They can turn on and off TVs. They can mess with your cell phone. They can mess with your computer. They can mess with the car, you know, just to let you know they're around. Now, I'm talking about good energy. I'm not talking about demonic stuff. We'll cover that in another video. But again, discernment is absolutely needed. So, and not everything that glitters is gold. Not everything that appears beautiful is of the light. So please use discernment. Another thing is coins. You know, the phrase pennies from heaven. Absolutely true. You know, I will say that, I mean, if you keep finding like pennies, random pennies, or if you're thinking of a loved one and there's a penny, that is most likely a sign from a loved one saying, hey, I'm okay. I know you're thinking of me. Be careful, though, because there are people, negative people that work like in dark arts that can curse like money and then leave it somewhere in the hopes that somebody will pick it up. Usually that happens. It doesn't normally happen with like one penny, you know. But, you know, if you see like a cluster of usually it's like quarter, dime, nickel, penny, you know, leave it alone, just to be on the safe side. But have you ever heard of the dime phenomena? The dime phenomena. This is crazy. If you've experienced it, and pennies too, but the dimes are really a little more significant. And if, you know, it might sound really silly, but if you've ever experienced it or known anybody that has, it's like mind-blowing. So it's kind of like the pennies from heaven, but with the dime phenomena, it's going to keep happening until you maybe get the message, put it together. What are they trying to say to you? It's like you find random dimes like everywhere, like in like bizarre places. You know, you go to get your coffee cup in the morning and there's a dime in it. You change the sheets and a dime falls out. You're walking in the store, dime, you know, whatever. Like they randomly show up everywhere. Usually a dime, it could be your loved one, but it's usually, even if it is a loved one, it's like a higher message. It's usually from like an angel or, you know, God himself, like a higher being, or your loved one is using the power of that angelic being to let you know not only are they okay and everything's all right, but if you add in numerology, the number 10, okay, so we only go to 9 in numerology, but 10 would be like completion, the end of a cycle, something new is coming. Go for it. Don't give up. Keep going. Something good is coming, you know? Awesome. Dime phenomena is awesome. Like I said, just be careful, like with clumps of money and stuff. Another thing with pennies, dimes, whatever, if you keep finding money randomly, and I don't mean just like once, unless you're praying about it. Like if you're praying, hey God, really, I need some money. I don't know what I'm going to do. And by the way, it is okay to pray for money. I know people say, is it okay to pray for money? Yes, it's okay to pray for money. God knows you need it to survive here. I wouldn't say it's okay to only pray for money. You know, I mean, you know, the love of money is the root of all evil, right? So, but it's okay to pray for money. It's okay to pray for yourself. Some people believe it's not okay to pray for yourself. I mean, no, it's okay. God says, hey, you got a problem, you got an issue, you got a worry, you got something to celebrate, whatever it is, I want you to share it with me. God wants you to, he knows anyway, but he wants you to communicate. He wants you to share with him. So say you've been asking for money and then, you know, your penny comes or a dime comes, or, yeah, that's a sign saying, hey, it's coming. Hold on, it's coming. If you keep seeing dimes, keep seeing pennies, yeah, take it as, yep, something good's coming. Money, something financial, something, you know, or prosperity in some way is coming. Good news, money, you know. So just hang in there, you know. And that goes for dimes as well. I think the pennies are great, but the dimes are even better. Like I said, they just seem to have like a higher vibration. And then, you know, they can come through other means to, set, again, back to what I was saying in the beginning about nature. Same thing with like other people. Somebody may use an expression that your loved one used all the time. Or you may, again, be praying and God uses another person to answer you. So all of a sudden, knowing nothing about what you're praying about, this person starts talking about whatever it is and actually gives you your answer. A song on the radio, a thing on TV. Yes, those can all be, what it is it's spirit manipulating something in the physical to answer you. Okay? And God does that all the time. You ask for something from God. He could throw it from the sky and boom, there it is. Wouldn't that be funny? But then all kinds of stuff would be thrown from the sky, right? But he uses people. He uses nature. He uses circumstance to answer you. We just have to pay attention. It's everywhere, okay? I know some people say I'm a crazy lady thinking this, but the spiritual realm is working. We have angels working in our favor. God uses angels to answer our prayers. Angels manipulate situations, and you're supposed to meet a certain person. They don't force that person to go somewhere, but they kind of set up a situation so you'll both be in the same place or that kind of thing. Same thing with money, same thing with health, they set you up to meet just the right doctor. So happens your doctor is off on vacation and this guy's in or this woman's in, and you're like, okay, well, I'm not so happy about that. But in truth, that's the person you need to talk to. That's the person that's going to know the answers. You know what I mean? So if we can stay in a state of allow, and even if it's, you desperately want to talk to a loved one, you desperately need something in your life, whatever. And I'm going to talk about energy of this realm. Different signs from somebody that's still in this realm, but that's another video too. But yeah, so not only should you acknowledge any of these things, and again, don't be like everything's a sign, but hey, thanks, sometimes, back to our senses, you can feel somebody watching you, or you can feel somebody around you. So all of our senses they use, like I said, and I know I'm all over the place, I'm sorry, it's morning and I haven't had my coffee. So acknowledge, gratitude, and another thing, and this goes for any kind of spirit communication, any kind of prayer, any kind of anything, whether it's wanting to talk to a loved one. Sometimes we are so grief-stricken. All we want is to have some kind of glimpse of that person, to talk to them for one more moment, to touch them for one more moment, whatever. And it is so overwhelming that it becomes, I don't want to say an obsession, but because it's not a bad thing to want something. It's not a bad thing to put it out there and say, I desire this. But when you get to the point where you want it too much, when you're gonna, do you know what I mean? Like when you want something so much that's all you think about, you actually, whether it be communication with a loved one, connecting with somebody here, answered prayer, whatever it is, no matter what it is, if you get to the point where you're almost, you want it too much and that you almost become obsessed with it, that's all you're thinking about, you actually put out the negative energy, because now you're putting out an energy of the exact opposite. You're putting out the energy of, I'm not with that person, I'm not connected to that person, So a lot of people say, well, how come, my son got a sign, or my brother got a sign, how come I haven't got a sign? Well, maybe you want it too much, because sometimes if you want it too much, you actually block it from coming, or you block yourself from seeing it. It might be there, and you're not seeing it because you want it too much. You want it to be boom in your face, and it really is just that subtle whatever, So, live in a state of allow. Don't obsess, because if you obsess, you're blocking it. And like I said, gratitude, gratitude. If you are grieving hard, they understand that. They understand that. And so the grief itself is not what's blocking anything. If you're angry, it's okay, you know, but try to live in a state of allow. And the healing, and you know what, you're never going to be 100% healed from grief, but it changes, you know, it changes. It's almost like, you don't get over it, but you become more, I don't even want to say comfortable, but you adapt to the grief, if that makes sense. Don't let anybody push you and say that you've been grieving too long or whatever. I mean, there comes a point where it becomes unhealthy and you may need to talk to someone, but there's no time limit on grief. There's, you know, and people have different opinions on every side of that, and I think it's crazy. But yeah, these, and I know I've gone on for too long, but these are some of the signs that we get from Spirit. And if you've had any of these, like I said, just, you know, hey, thanks, and hey, God, if that was my mom, if that was my husband, if that was my kid or my baby, or could you just give me verification, that so that I know that this is true, this is real, and then pay attention, because it'll happen. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I'm going to be posting a few different videos about the spiritual realm, about spiritual growth, about the afterlife, and that kind of thing. So stay tuned, subscribe if you're not, and I hope you have a good day. And if you need anything, if you need to talk, if you are grieving, or if you're struggling with some kind of change of any kind, whether it has to do with death or any kind of change, don't shoot me an email. Let's set up an appointment. All right, talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.